it's the bookkeeper who has to sell his or her own services, and so they're not a professional salesperson. So a lot of times there's a lot of fear, and we get in our heads, we get in our guts, we feel pushy, we feel salesy, we feel weird, and we discount. And so to me, it's about arming the person whose job it is to sell this value with the skills and tools to do it.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer. In this first episode of this two-part conversation, I'll speak with pricing expert, keynote speaker, and president of Boost Pricing, Casey Brown. In this conversation, she shares her fascinating journey from engineer to pricing strategist and reveals why your money story and mindset may be the biggest factors holding you back from charging more. Let's find out more right now. Casey Brown, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you, and it's interesting. We've actually had a few people on recently talking about pricing, and you can never have enough.
Well, it's certainly my favorite topic, so I'd have to agree.
Yes, and you've done a lot of talking about this, and I'm excited you were recommended to be on the show, and I think it's a great topic, and I'm looking forward to it. So with that, let's maybe start with, how did you end up doing what you're doing now?
Well, as you can imagine, this wasn't on my career vision board as a middle schooler or anything. I didn't even know this was a field. I didn't know it existed. And so my path to being a pricing geek is sort of on accident a little bit, or let's say a little bit windy. So I started as an engineer, a chemical engineer by training, and I started my career at GE in the Jack Welch heyday, and loved engineering, loved the technical and analytical aspects of it, love Excel as my jam. But I'm an extrovert and I love people, and I saw my buddies that were in the sales department were doing some really interesting things that looked really cool to me. They got to go to Vegas for a national sales meeting, and I thought that looked really cool. And I was just stuck in the lab as an engineer, and so I thought I wanted to get into something sales related, and I became an early Six Sigma black belt at GE, which at GE was a rotational program. And so I did rotation in sales and loved it, did a rotation in marketing, loved it. And then I did a rotation in pricing, and I was like, this is it. This is for me. Because although I love sales and marketing, what's different about pricing is this sort of a sharper point on analytics. So there's sort of data and psychology. There's people and process. There's art and science. And I just love that. And I fell in love with the topic 25 years ago and haven't looked back.
Wow. That's an incredible story and incredible back experience to work in what at one point was considered to be one of the greatest companies on the planet, and Jack Welch, one of the greatest leaders of that company. He is himself an icon, and you're all part of it there, and doing what became very, very famous with the Six Sigma black belt stuff. So that's interesting, and I love that, because it comes whenever you're talking from that deep knowledge and as well experience and passion. Wow, that's a good combination.
Well, I feel really lucky to have started my career there. They were, at that time anyway, very famous for how much investment they poured into training and development of their people, especially their younger, high potential talent. And so I got so much amazing training there. It was a great place to start my career. And that was sort of the springboard into pricing, and then went on to be a pricing manager there and at other Fortune 500 companies. And then about 15 years ago, thought that, the small and medium-sized privately held companies need this stuff too. This stuff that I had been applying at the Fortune 100 level. Could I bring that down market? And been in the small and medium-sized privately held business space ever since.
Wow, very cool. I'd love to know, maybe we'll start there, is you started working with, like, working in these big companies would have been exceptional, lots of resources, lots of data, lots of, and then all of a sudden you've got these small, medium-sized companies, very different landscape. What did that look like when you first started doing it?
It's a really wise question, actually, because it seemed maybe to me at the time like it was going to be kind of a straight line. Like, I'm just going to do this over here. This thing I'd done over here on this side, I'm going to do over here. And it really didn't work out that way. So I had been doing, at the time I left corporate America, like these very analytical approaches to pricing. So segmentation analysis and elasticity calculations and, statistical modeling to optimize price. And I thought, well, I can take that knowledge, that statistics and math and analytical expertise I have and bring it to the smaller companies, and found pretty quickly that the data was not
Not much
in
meat for the
place,
grinder.
either not available at all or
No.
poor quality data, that it was pretty useless. I also, it wasn't just about the data and the structures. I also think, and I say this with great respect for small and medium businesses, I am one myself. So this isn't me taking a shot or trying to be pejorative, but it was sort of like bringing, I don't know, it's like trying to teach particle physics to someone who'd never had a math class or something. It was like it was the wrong, and I don't say that with any lack of intellect or hard work, but the things that needed to be in place for that stuff to be helpful weren't in place. And so pretty quickly figured out that that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be what was needed. It wasn't the most helpful. It's like showing up to the golf course with one bag in the club and it's a driver.
Chainsaw.
I got a putt here. It's the
I got a
wrong putt.
chainsaw in my golf bag.
Yeah,
That's all I
exactly.
got.
Exactly. So there was a pivot, and that's a kind of a long story. The short version is it didn't take very long before I stopped thinking the best way to help people was through a lot of analytics, and started to realize the best way to help them was to help arm the people whose job it was to carry the price into the customer and communicate and defend that, and help them be more confident and price from a place of confidence, and negotiate from a place of strength, which sort of trickles back to the upstream pricing decisions that come from it. But too many companies are investing, tools and analytical resources and time and money building out some kind of really perfect pricing strategy or perfect pricing tool. But if they hand it to the sales team that is not equipped, is not armed, is not effective with it, you don't have their hearts and minds, they're just going to march right around that tool and discount anyway. And in the space, the sort of specific space that you serve, a lot of times who is the sales team is the delivery team also, if you're talking about these, CPA firms. And so at bookkeeping firms, it's the bookkeeper who has to sell his or her own services. And so they're not a professional salesperson. So a lot of times there's a lot of fear and we get in our heads, we get in our guts, we feel pushy, we feel salesy, we feel weird, and we discount. And so to me, it's about arming the person whose job it is to sell this value with the skills and tools to do it.
We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Introducing Dext, the #1 bookkeeping automation platform that makes your life easier. Dext captures your client's data with incredible accuracy and delivers it seamlessly into your workflow, integrating with over 30 accounting softwares. Imagine having more time to focus on what truly matters, like helping your clients, growing your firm, or taking a well-deserved break. With Dext, you can trust the data is accurately extracted, categorized, and submitted every time. What if communicating with your clients could be simple? Your clients can easily send in the records via mobile, email, or drag and drop. With built-in reminders, everyone stays on the same page, eliminating the hassle of endless email chains. Are you ready to streamline your bookkeeping processes? Join thousands of accountants and bookkeepers in the Dext community. Go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/Dext to book a demo today and see how Dext can make your work life easier. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. Wow, that's a really interesting take on this. I don't think we've ever talked about that on the show, and that's a big piece because you can set anything up. If someone can't grab the ball and run with it and score points with it, it's useless.
That's right.
And so that's interesting in that and I'd like to learn a little bit more about it, because I think you're right on the money with, that pricing strategy that gets created. It's handed across the desk and the person walks around the desk and picks up the paper. It's them.
Yeah,
They're doing it.
yeah, right. Yeah, I like that. The handoff to oneself, exactly.
Yes, yes, ceremoniously, in a quiet, dark room. So that piece you started doing, I would imagine that would have been very effective, because that's actually where it most matters, is at the customer conversation
Yeah.
level. Yeah, I would like to hear how that kind of went and what you learned when you took that angle.
Yeah, it was a really interesting learning because I had, with much bravado, the idea that I was going to bring all these analytical stuff to the mid market, and I was pretty successful out of the gate selling some people on it, and I got hired for some engagements. And like I said, I love Excel, so I was off to the races and using some statistical analytics packages and some other things, and building these really complicated models for businesses, and the financial benefits they were receiving were pretty modest. Certainly more modest than I was comfortable with. I'd made some big promises. They seemed happy enough, but I think that's because people are used to consulting and letting them down, to be honest with you. And I wasn't happy with it. And so I thought, there's no reason this shouldn't work. I know these are the right numbers. And so I'd start to look into it. And it's like, well, the system proposed $7.97 a pound, or whatever the heck it is, right? Depends on what you sell and who you sell to. This could be goods, services, professional services, software, construction, distribution, you name it. If customers beat you up on price, this stuff applies. So, it had suggested a price, and they were getting just overridden all the time, overrides by the sales team. And I thought, you could be giving, it's like giving the keys to your Ferrari to a toddler, right? Like, this is a performance automobile I built. I know it. But if it's not being driven correctly, then it cannot produce the results. And so, first couple of sort of lackluster programs engagements that I did, I went back to those CEOs and said, I think we have an engagement issue with the team. Like, we have a sales enablement thing. Like, could I please do a training session with your team where I can help them understand this better, not just what we built, but also some of the sort of mindset and psychology that fits around this in terms of how they communicate, negotiate it. And I'll do it for free. I really want you to get the results that I know are possible.